Let's see everything works fine. Recording has started. So yeah, I have recorded the started the screen recording also. So fine. So I don't know what was the issue, but let's start again. So where were we? We were discussing what was the issue? See here first. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah. So we were discussing this PyTZ library, and we were trying to figure out what it contains, what information it contains. Fine. So you all can see that PyTZ.all time zones returns a list, a string that contains all the time zones that are provided by this library. And then using the starts with function, what you are doing, you are checking if the given string starts with a given string. So let's go back to our program. So it says variable equals to tz for tz in PyTZ dot all time zones if tz dot starts with Asia. So it essentially means for, so let's run a loop for I in PyTZ dot all time zones. Fine. So I trade through all the time zone strings present in the PyTZ returned by the PyTZ module, all time zones function call. Then what you have to do, if this I starts with, this string starts with Asia, then what you have to do? You have to append I. You have to append that time zone string into the variable list, and then you have to return this list variable. Now what it is doing, for underscore in X print underscore, this means for this character in X, simply print that character. Fine. So let's see what it does. It does something, returns a list of all time zones in Asia. So that's true. Fine. The above code prints all the time zones in Asia. This is true. The output of the code can change depending on the version of the type IT that used. This is also true because the return string can be different. And so correct answer is all of the above. Fine. Anyone do you have any doubts? So just type in the chat box if you have any queries. Hello, am I audible? Sorry. Am I audible? Please confirm because I had made some changes to the setup. So please confirm that I am audible. Anyone please confirm if I'm audible? So I'm not getting any responses from you guys. Great. So let's move on to the next question. This means no one has any doubts. So read the given code. What is the output of does something? And we are passing inputs at variables, three variables, 2022, comma 2, comma 29. So what is the output of this function called does something this? So you can see it's we are using the function calendar, and then in the function inside the function done something we are calling does something calendar dot month range year comma month. So let's see what this function does. So let me import. So let's check. So let's check what this function does. This library provides. So it library provides lots of functions, modules related that allow you to do manipulation over date and time and dates. So, and the function that we are interested in is the month range function. So let's look at this month range function. What it does is it takes the year of the year that you are interested in, month of that particular year, and it returns the weekday, that is Monday to Sunday, and the number of days for the given year and month. So it essentially returns the first starting weekday of that month, and then it returns the number of days that are present in that month. So let's check that. So let's call this function calendar dot month range, and the year we are current year is 2024, and we are in the month 10. So let's see. So it starts the first day on this month was Tuesday, and it has 31 days. Let's check this. So yeah, 1st October was a Tuesday, and it has 31 days. Fine. So let's look at this function. So what we are doing, we are saying variable is equals to calendar dot month range year comma month. So what it essentially returns. So this means that variable is a list, basically a list that contains starting weekday of the month, starting weekday of the month. So let's say if the month starts with Monday, Tuesday, or so on, then number of days in the month. Now, what we are returning? We are returning integer. So we are typecasting to integer. If one is less than equals to day is less than equals to variable at 1. So return integer of 1 is less than equals to day, which is less than equals to variable 1. Fine. So first, let us see what this less than equals to. Let's break down this conditional check before solving this problem. So can anyone tell me what will the value of, let's say if I have a variable x is equals to day less than equals to variable at 1. So let's say I am calling this this conditional comparison between two variables. Then what x contains here? So let's take some example. So let's say x equals to 2 is less than equals to 1. Now when you print x, it is a false. So it essentially returns a Boolean value. Fine. Fine. Now what happens if I use this variable as a comparison with another integer? So now let's say 0 is less than equals to x. So it returns true. Why? Because it is comparing the integer equivalent of the Boolean value false with 0. So 0 is essentially 0. So when you print 0 is less than x, it's false. So basically what is happening is, what you're doing, you are checking if a is less than equals to b, which is less than equals to c. So how to solve this problem? Just associate these conditionals. So what will be the Boolean output of this? If that Boolean output is greater than equals to a, then the output has to be true. Fine. So what it is saying, return in integer int of 1 is less than equals to day is less than equals to variable at 1. So let's say you are passing some day. So what is the day here? The day passed is 29 and the month is 2 Feb, and 2022 was a leap year. Not a leap year. So the month that is input is 2, year is 2022, and then that means it contains 28 days. So that means variable contains whatever the first day of the week might be, first day of the week, then the number of days, which is 28. So so variable at 1 is 28. So variable at 1 equals to 28. Now what is day? Day equals to 29, that is the input, and then we are checking if day is less than equals to variable at 1. This means so day is 29. Is 29 less than equals to 28? No. So the output would be false, which means 0. Now what we are checking? We are checking is 1 less than equals to 0. So this is again false. So the output would be, and the integer value of false would be, integer equivalent of false would be 0. Fine. So what would be the answer for this problem? 0. The correct answer would be 0. Anyone, do you have any doubts in this problem? Please type in the chat box. So if you have any queries, please type in the chat box. So I guess no one has any doubts. Let's move on to the next question. Read the following code, and then we have to give some output. Fine. So def checks something here. So let's see what it does. Def something. So let's see what this function says. it says return what we have to return year modulo 4 is equals to 0 and year modulo 100 not equals to 0 or year modulo 400 equals to 0. Fine. So what it is saying, it is basically returning two things. It is comparing, checking for two things. If year modulo 4 is 0 and year modulo 100 is not equals to 0. If this is the case, then what you have to return? If this is true, or if this is true, year modulo 400 equals to 0. So what it essentially says is, if this is true, then you have to return true. Else, again, you have to check if year modulo 400 is equals to 0. Then what you have to do? You have to return true. If none of these is true, then what you have to do? Else, you have to return false. So this is what this statement says, this function says. So if the year is divisible by 4 and year is not divisible by 100. So year is a number, let's say 1998. So it is divisible by 4, yes, but it's not divisible by 100. So what you have to do, you have to return true. Else, if year is divisible by 400, so if it is if either it is not divisible by 4 or not, neither it is divisible by 100, then if it is divisible by 400, then what you have to do? Return true. Let's say the year is 2000. So it is divisible by 4 true, but it's not, it is also divisible by 100. So first condition will be false. The loop will go to the else if part. The control switch will, control will go to the second part, else if part, where they check if year is divisible by 400. If that's true, you have to return true. Fine. So anyone, do you remember anything regarding this logic? This we discussed in the earlier lectures, tutorial sessions also, where we were solved a problem related to years. We were trying to identify what kind of year is a given year input. Anyone, do you remember this logic? Hello, am I audible? Anyone, please confirm. Am I audible? Great. So do you remember this logic, anyone? It is essentially checking if the given year is, checks if the given year is a leap year or not. So this is the test that it does. It essentially checks if the given year is a leap year or not. So now we understand this function. So so checks something, what it does, checks if the given is a leap or not. Fine. So now let's next move to the next line. It says file path equals to years.txt. It's a string. File path is a string containing the content years.txt. Now with open file path R. So here R stands for read mode. So we are opening the file present on the disk at the path specified by the string file path in the read mode. And we are storing all the lines in the file for line in file. What we are doing? We have opened the contents into the object file. Now we are iterating through each line in the file. What we are doing? We are appending years. So years is a list that we are appending to it is integer value of line dot strip. So what it's essentially is doing is line dot strip is removing any trailing or um, any leading or trailing white space characters from the given line, and then it is converting it into integer data type and then appending to the years list. So when you run this segment, what it will do? The list. So the list years contains the integer values, the years provided in the text file years.txt. That's it. Now count is equals to sum of 1 for year in years if check something year is true. So what it is doing? Count equals to count plus 1. So it is basically sum 1 if year in years is a leap year. That's it. That's what it's doing. Everyone, do you understand the logic? So in this count statement, what it's doing, it is summing 1 every time it's adding up 1 when each year present in the years list is a leap year. That's it. So everyone, do you understand this logic, this program? Anyone, do you have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. Please type in the chat box if I am audible. Anyone, please confirm. So it's like you guys are not present in the session. What is happening? So if you understand the logic, just type in yes or no something so that I can get a clue if I should proceed further or not. Great. So I hope every one of you is now able to understand the logic. So it's basically counting the counting the number of leap years present in the file years.txt. Now let's say we have given this file years.txt. It contains the following content: 2000, 2007, 2004, 2009, and then 2001. What is the output of the following code? What is the output of the code? Let's say years.txt contains these values. What is the output of the code? Anyone, can you tell me how many leap years are present in this text file? Anyone? So I hope you can identify the leap years from this file. So they are basically 2000 and 2004. So the output would be 2. Fine. 2000 and leap years. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts? Please type in the chat box or we can proceed further. So I hope every one of you understands this problem. So let's proceed further. So now let's read the. So everyone, please follow through these code statements. By now, you should be able to understand these code statements and answer these questions on your own. Hmm. So yeah. So if you guys are not answering, then I'm assuming that you are able to understand everything that I'm stating. Fine. So let's start with the next problem. Read the given code, import calendar, and then we have the function count something. So we have this function count something. It takes in input is as year. Then what we are doing? We are initializing count equals to 0 for month in range 1 to 13. So basically it will the value month will contain the values 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 12 because we are iterating for month in range. Starting value is 1, the end value is 13 minus 1, which is 12. Then day of week equals to calendar dot weekday year comma month comma 13. So what it does is, so let's see what this function calendar dot weekday does. So let's check help calendar dot weekday. So what it does is it returns the weekday for a year, month, and day. So let's say today is 4th October 2024. So let's import calendar and then call calendar dot weekday and pass the year, which is 2024. The month is 10 and the day is 4th. So it should return Friday. So you can see it is saying calendar dot Friday. So that's true. So this is what this function does. It essentially returns the weekday of the given date. Then if day of week is Friday, basically calendar dot Friday. So this is how they have defined Fridays. Friday. Then what you have to do? You have to count plus equals to 1. And then finally this what this function does. It returns count. So what it is doing, it is counting, it is iterating through all the months in the year, in a given year, and it is counting the number of months in which the 13th of that particular month occurs on a Friday. That's it. So that's what this program is doing. So I think the question is a bit missing here. Now let's the question is enter the value of count something think 6 equals to count something 2032. So it is asking what is the answer to this problem. So it is asking whether the number of Fridays that occurring on the 13th of a month in the year 1996 was that same as the number of the same was that same. Yeah, does this happened same as in 2024? So what would be the answer? Anyone? The easiest way to think of this is, let's say you don't have a computer to do this. The first thing knife way you will do is start looking to the calendar, week, months, and then count the number of Fridays. The easiest way is, we all know that 1996 and 2024 both are leap years. And then if the starting weekday of the year 1996 will be equals to the starting weekday of the year 2024. Then the number of Fridays on the 13th, occurring on 13th of each month, will be same, because these years will be, the calendar in these years will be repeated. So let's check. So calendar dot weekday 1996, month is 1 and day is 10. So it was a Monday. And then let's do the same for 2024. Weekday 2024 1 1. So it is also Monday. So you can see both the years are starting with the Monday, and they both are leap years. So they have same number of, they have same number of same order of days, dates in the calendar. So they basically have the same calendar. So the output would be 1. The number of Fridays, such Fridays will be equal to in both the calendars. In the calendar for both the years. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts in this problem? Otherwise, you can simply run this program and then you can get the same output. Anyone, do you have any doubts? If you have, please type in the chat box. I'll wait for 2 minutes and then we'll proceed to the next problem. And meanwhile, if I'm not audible, please type in the chat box. Not audible. Fine. Great. So let's move on to the next problem. I believe no one has any doubts. So let's read the code again. So we have a function count underscore that takes input two variables s and e. And what it does, it is initializing a variable count with the value 0. And for year in range s comma e plus 1. So let's move it a bit in the next page. Okay. So if for year in range s comma e plus 1, and again you are checking if the year is leap year. We already saw this statement in the previous problems. So someone is saying my skin is not visible. Is this for everyone? So I have reshared my screen. Anyone please confirm it's not, if it's visible or not. So whenever I'm explaining something, is the text visible that I'm writing for explaining that stuff, or it's not? Okay. Okay. Let me see if there is some. So just wait a minute. I'm sharing from another device. So I have everyone. Now is the screen visible clearly? Hello. I hope now you are able to see everything. Fine. So let's move on to this program. So we have a function count underscore that takes two variables s and e as input. Then it's declaring a variable count that and storing the value 0 to this variable count. Then we are looping through for year in range as to e plus 1. Fine. We are checking if year is a leap year. That's it. That's what this function is doing. What we have to do, count plus equals to 1, and then we simply return count. So what it's doing, it's taking two inputs s and e, which is start year and the end year, and it's trying to compute the total number of leap years between that given range of years. Fine. Everyone, do you understand the logic? Great. So then what would be the output of is the outcome of count underscore 1990 to 2024. So it will essentially return the total number of leap years between these range. So let's count those. So was 1990 leap year? No. Then 1991, 92. Hmm. So if you want to check if a number is divisible by 4, you check the last two digits. If it's divisible by 4, then the number is divisible by 4. So 1990 is not divisible, 91 is not divisible, 92 is not divisible, 93 is not, 92, 92, 1, 2. 92, 1992 is a leap year. So let's start counting. So 1992, then 1996, then 2000, then 2004, then 2008, then 2012, 2016, 2020, 24. So how many years are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. So the correct answer would be 9. Everyone, did you get this answer? If you have any doubts, type in the chat box. Fine. So if you have any doubts, please type in the chat box. So I believe no one has any doubts. So let's move on to the next question. Fine. If you face any technical difficulties, please type in the chat box immediately. So let's move on to the question number 8. So here's some interesting problem. In addition to the first day of first birthday celebration, Koreans often celebrate Mise Dole, which marks the completion of the 100th day after a baby's birth. This is considered another significant milestone. Given an input birth date, the following code tries to calculate the date of Mise Dole, but the code might contain errors. Identify the line number corresponding to the error. In the absence of error, just type in -1. Fine. So yeah. So let's see what the problem says. So we are given a date. We have to write a program that computes the date that occurs 100 days after the given date. Now we have a program and we have to identify some if there is any problem, if there is any bug in this program or not. So from date time, import date time, comma time delta. So these are two functions that we are importing from the date time library. Fine. So what does time delta does? Time delta essentially, let's see what this time delta does. So we can date time dot time delta. So let's import date time first. So it essentially returns the difference between two date time values. So the arguments are days, seconds, microseconds, milliseconds, and so on. So basically, we only need the first argument because we only want to generate time delta, date time dot delta for 100 days. Fine. Now, date equals to, so let's say we are converting a given input year, month, and day into an input date. So let's do this. Let's define year equals to 1998, date equals to first, then month equals to 1, and then let's define the input date, date time, and pass in year, month, or day, year, month, day. Fine. So it's essentially date time dot date time. So let's see what this input date contains. Input date contains the date time dot date time object, which is 1998-1100. Now let's say we want to add one day to this given date. Then we can use the time delta object that generates that difference. So you can see now the date becomes 2. Now what would be the 100th day after this? We have to pass in 100 to the time delta. It will say 11th of April is the 100th day from 1st January in the year 1998. Fine. So now let's see what's the error in this program. So def calculate year, month, day, and then we are creating an input date. Input date equals to date time, year, month, date, day, and then we are computing the final date equals to input date plus time delta days equals to 99. Can anyone identify what the issue? We are trying to compute the 100th day 100th day from the given input date. So will this time delta generate the correct amount of day difference? Anyone? So what this time delta does right now is it essentially will add up 99 days from the given date. That's not the correct answer. So it should have been days equals to 100. So the correct answer line 6 is erroneous. It should be 100 days equals to 100. So then it would be correct. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts in this problem? If you have, please type in the chat box. Anyone, please type in the chat box if you have any queries. So meanwhile, someone is asking in ATPTL exam, will we have MCQ questions or we need to write programs? That I don't know. You can ask the MTTL team. I'm only here for the tutorial sessions. Fine. It seems like no one has any doubts. So let's proceed further. Question number 9. Read the given code and find the value of return by finds something. So let's see what this function does. So we have the function. So we have the function def finds something. It takes in input year and month. Then what it does, it computes first day of month equals to calendar dot weekday year comma month comma month. So we already saw that calendar dot weekday function. What it does, it returns the weekday of the given date. Now what we are computing, x equals to first day of month plus 1 modulo 7, and then it is returning x. Return x. Fine. So let's see what is the first weekday. So let's call calendar dot. Let's take help of calendar. So 0 is Monday and 0 to 6. It checks if first day of, it returns simply the first day of month modulo 7 plus 1 modulo 7. So let's see what is the weekday on 12th, 1st December 2000. So let's check calendar dot weekday. The year is 2000, the month is 12, and the day is 1. So it is Friday. Friday means 5. So what is 6 modulo 7? 6 modulo 7 is basically 6. So say, the answer would be 6 in this problem, in this case. 5. Okay, the Friday would be Monday. If Monday is 0, then Monday, Tuesday is 1, Wednesday is 2, Thursday is 3, Friday is 4. So 4 plus 1, 5 modulo 7. The output would be 5. Yeah, that's it. So the correct answer would be 5. That's it. Anyone do have any queries in this problem? I'll wait for 2 minutes, and if no one responds, then I'll assume that everyone of you is able to understand this problem. So let's move on to the last question for this session. So again, we have some function count something. So we have function def count something. The input is year and month. So what we have to do? We have to take x comma y. So let's do comma y equals to calendar dot month range year comma month, and then we say last day equals to y, and then for day in range 1 to last day plus 1, if calendar dot weekday is less than 5, count plus equals to 1. So we already saw what month range does. Month range essentially counts the number of returns, the number of let's see, I myself forward. So let's check what it does. Calendar dot month range. So it returns the weekday and the number of days of the month. So it returns the first day, the weekday of the on the that is occurs on the first day of that month, and the total number of days in that month. So X is basically containing the weekday, as is X is basically weekday of the first day of the month, and Y contains total number of so basically last day of that month. Fine. So now what we are doing? We're writing string true for day in range 1 comma last day plus 1, and if calendar dot weekday, if year comma month comma day is less than 5, what we have to do? We have to return count plus equals to 1, and then we have to return count basically. Fine. So it's counting the all it's going through all the days in the given month from the first day of the month and checking if that day is a weekday from Monday, which is 0, until Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So how many Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursdays occur in that given month? So it's really easy. It's basically 4 into the number of complete weeks in that day, in that month. So the question is, how many Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays occur in the first month of the year 2024? So what was the January status? We can check here. So you can see it starts with a Monday. So there would be total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are 10. These are 15. plus 4, 19 such days. So it was 19. The correct answer would be 19. So let's see if I'm doing any mistake here. The answer is 23. Let's check again. So 0 to 5, and the month starts with Monday. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Acha, 5 is Saturday. So it would be 15. So I was mistaken here. So 5, 10, 15, then 4 here, 15 for 19, plus 4 here, 23. So there are 23 such days. The correct answer is 23. So let me type in the answer here. 23 is the correct answer for this problem. So anyone, do you have any doubts in this problem? If you have any doubts, please type in the chat box. Am I audible? So am I audible? So yeah, so these were all the questions that I had for this session. If you have any more questions, you can ask me, or I will take up some programming problems for you guys for after a break for maybe 5 minutes. Let's take a break for 5 minutes. We will resume at 7:25. Fine. So, hi everyone. Let's resume. So, let me take up some programming problems for you guys. Anyone do have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. Anyone do have any doubts? So, just confirm that. Am I audible? So, everyone, please confirm if I'm audible. Hmm. Great. So, I believe none of you have any doubts. So, let's start with some programming problems. So, yeah. So, this is the new problem. Programming problem. Fine. So, let's read the problem statement first. Consider a spiral of semicircles, and we are given a start point P0 on the x-axis. So, you look at this figure. P0. It is the starting point and it's located at some location L comma 0 on the x-axis. Now we start at this point and form a semicircle semicircle that ends at the point r comma 0. Fine. So so let's say we start a semicircle which touches the point p0 at one of its at its circumference at one point. And when you go along the diameter of that semicircle, then the other end on the circumference of that semicircle would be the point p1. So that lies on the coordinate r comma 0. These values L comma R are known to us. Now, uh, any this semicircle, this one section of the semicircle is called an arm of this problem, arm for this problem, which is basically a arm of semicircles. So this is the first arm P0 to P1. Now the second arm starts from the point P1 and ends at the center of the first arm. So what was the center of the first arm, which was the semicircle from P0 to P1? It will actually lie at the center of that circle of which this semicircle was a part, and this point is P2. Now we have to choose P2 as the starting point and repeat this process to obtain P3, the next point, and then up to P4. Fine. Everyone, do you understand this problem? How to form a spiral pattern using this algorithm? Do I need to explain this again? Anyone, anyone, if you understand this problem, please type in the chat box. Anyone, please type in the chat box if you understand this problem. Am I audible? So let me explain this problem once again, and then I will start solving it. Fine. So let's say we are on this is the x-axis, and we are given 2 points. We call these points P0 and P1. So we draw a semicircle passing through these 2 points. Fine. Assume that this is a semicircle. Fine. Now what you have to do? You have to start at this point P1 and draw a semicircle until the center of this earlier semicircle. And you call that point P2. And then what you have to do? So now we have reached the point P2. Now what you have to do? You have to start at this point and draw a semicircle between this point and the circle, a center of the circle formed by the hemisphere 1, 2, 2. So you draw this like this, and then you repeat the process until the number of semicircles that are required for our given problem. Fine. I hope every one of you by now understands this problem. So the inputs that we are given is the x coordinate of the point P0 and the x coordinate of the point P1, and n is the number of arms with this spiral. That means the number of hemispheres that are being formed through this process. Now what we have to return? We have to return the x coordinate of P4 in this case, because we wanted to form total of 1, 2, 3, 4 arms. So we are given n number of arms. We have to form a spiral containing n number of arms. Then what would be the final location position of the nth point where the spiral ends? Fine. So let's see what happens if n is 1. N is 1. This means we want to form only one. What if n is 0? Then we simply return P0. We return P0 because we don't want any arm to form. So if n is 0, we return P0. If n is 1, Then we want to form one arm. So we need to return P1. For if n is greater than 1, then what we need to do? We simply need to count. So what we need to do? We need to count the number of spirals until we reach the point where n is 1 or n is 0. So every time we reach the center, we reduce the number of spirals, number of arms, as we have traced that many number of spirals itself. Now let's see how we can solve if n is greater than 1. Okay. So let's think for a while how to solve this. And one, one, right, n equals to 4 करोगे. So it would be point. This 4 divided by. So yeah. So let's look at the logic. How would we solve this problem? So we all know that let's say the left is 0, the right is 1. So what we know is, let's take me some eraser here. Fine. So now we have So hi everyone. I just saw that my network was disconnected. So can anyone just tell me how for how long you were not able to hear me? So for how long I was not audible? Hello, am I audible? Okay, so were you able to understand the program that we used for solving this problem? So basically, we were trying to solve this problem where we wanted to compute the last value on the number line where the spiral would end, given the number of hands that we want in that spiral, and as well as the starting and the left and the right uh, ends of the starting hand. Fine. So if we want zero hands, then we simply have to return left value. If we found one arms, then we have to return the right value. Otherwise, what we have to do? We have to simply go on subdividing the arms center by the arm center that we are doing here. So for I in range n-1, what we are doing, left comma right equals to right comma left plus right divided by 2. Fine. So let's see again here. Fine. So let's try to do this again. So let's say if you just wanted one arm, so you would form it like this. Or design. Fine. And then I can take the अच्छा, station. So let's say we have this number line and we are given two values left and right, and we want to form a spiral around between these 2 points. So how to do that? You first draw a semicircle that passes through these 2 points. Then you define the center of this semicircle and draw a semicircle that passes between these 2 points. So basically right and the new formed semicircle. Then again, what you need to do? So in this case, this right becomes left. So this is left 2 for the second, and this is right 2 for the second semicircle. Then again, you want to draw another arm. So what you do, you start from the right 2 to the you update right 2 as left 2. So left 3, it will be left 3, and this will be right 3. So in this way, so whenever we draw an arm, we draw from the left point and go to the right point. Then what is the left point? Left is equals to previous right. Fine. Left is previous arm's right. And what is the new right? Right is basically midpoint. Midpoint. So this is what is the algorithm that we are using here. So it's pretty simple to understand. So yeah, we start from the left to right, and then left is the previous right, and the new right is the midpoint between the left and right. And you repeat this and you will get the answer. Everyone, do you understand the logic for this program? Anyone, do you have any doubts? Then type in the chat box. So otherwise, I don't have any extra questions for this session. That's it for today's session. Yeah. If you have any doubts, please type in the chat box. Otherwise, we can end the session. Great, thanks. So we can end this session. Thank you all for today.